impression of mine as well. So this is what you can imagine. He's pretty cool looking. Okay. All right, so I'd like to call in Nigh, the Lyran. When you're connected, can you please cross the rods? Thank you. Okay, and then you can double check. Let me get the camera a little further back. Okay. All right. All right. Am I connected to Nigh, my higher self? Yes. Okay. And is this the same Nigh Lyran being that we interviewed yesterday in the Lyran interview? I'm getting a yes. Okay. So now we go through our calibration checks. So we ask the being to please show me a yes. Thank you. Okay. Show me a no. Okay. Show me a maybe. Okay. And show me a no answer or answer not allowed. The candle doesn't need to be so near the body. I actually have 2 candles lit. Let's ask, is it important where in proximity to you that the candle, your protection candle, is located for these practices? I get a no. So the candle can be anywhere in the room for it to continuously work? I get a yes. So, okay. Remember to drink water. Make sure you're well hydrated. Okay. So, let me get back to my questions. Okay. So, we're already connected to him. So, yeah, let's cover some of the topics they covered yesterday. Specifically about like the Lyrans being pretty much the first hominid species to exist in this universe. So let's go ahead and ask. Nigh, are we still connected? Yes. Okay, thank you. Is it true that Lyrans are considered the first hominid beings to exist in this universe? I feel like it's wanting to say yes, but mine have been sticky lately. And whenever that happens, I'm like, was the answer to that question, last question, a yes? Yes. Okay. Lyrans can visit us physically if they want to, so dowsing isn't necessary. Okay, thank you, Burnett, for your commentary. Please let us know if you get different questions or anything if you're participating in that way, because this is like a classroom group experience, yes, where we're all learning how to use the rods correctly together, yes. Are you showing water underground? This is how we do in South Africa. 11, yes. Okay. All right, so yes, if you're just popped in, I see there's a couple new people. We are currently all practicing using divination rods. These are copper rods, and they can give you answers to yes or no questions. And we are connecting. That's okay. I'm just trying to keep up. Yeah, I ordered myself a second set of copper rods that are even longer from Etsy. And so it's like even more sensitive, I guess. And I'm very excited to see, because I feel like, I don't know, like the longer it is, like the more obvious of an answer it has to be, in my opinion. You're hydrating. Thank you, Kat. Thank you. Okay, so again, were Lyrans the earliest humanoid species to exist in this universe? I get a yes. Okay. Did the destruction of Lyra, the planet, cause Lyrans to spread across many star systems? I get a yes. Okay. Did that diaspora, I don't know how you say that, lead to many hybrid civilizations forming, like they said? Yes. And if you're interested in this, we just posted an interview yesterday where we interviewed these Lyran beings who are pretty much assigned to myself and my partner as our like Lyran diplomatic team. Is that correct? Yeah. So that was pretty exciting, and I got to learn that one of them said he was a parallel expression of myself, which is very interesting. When you start to realize that there are aspects of yourself, like imagine if your soul is a crystal and there are fractals of that crystal currently experiencing life in other places, other dimensions, timelines, like, and that the really crazy part to all that being true is that some of those you would call your higher selves are more spiritually advanced than you and are aware of this lifetime. Yeah. And, you know, they sort of like act as I think of them as, oh, what's that book? The Hunger Games sponsors, where they like are guides on the outside trying to help you out. Within Earth Thunderdome. That's how I picture it. And, you know, rods like these allow us to communicate with them. I mean, of course, there are people out there like my partner Stephanie who does not need the rods to communicate with their team, correct? But I currently do. Yes. Is it moving with no question? So, like they just swing around. They'll swing around. You'll feel, I mean, it's hard to convey to you, the viewer, what it feels like, but if you were to start practicing, you would realize that when they're like loosey-goosey and I'm not currently like actively connected to get an answer, they sway like this. I'm like, merely from me breathing, you're seeing how like they're on my chest and me breathing is like moving them around a lot, right? Like a little bit swaying here and there. But then when I'm like, okay, Nigh, am I currently connected? They like almost hold a tension, a slight tension in that position. I don't know if you can tell, even with me breathing. They still stay there. You see what I mean? Okay, then show me a no. I don't know. You just still notice there's like a slight tension that wasn't there before. And so it's a difference. It's easier to like sense as you do this, which helped me get past the blocks of like, these are definitely not working for me, because it took me a long time to feel like, whoa, that was definitely not me answering that, you know? And then there are still moments where I'm like, okay, I thought I was connected, but am I still connected? Because it feels like, did I lose a connection? Which, can that happen? Can you just like accidentally lose a connection while doing this? Yes. And I feel like that happened to me. That happened to me many times in the beginning of my practice. Yes. And it's usually because my mind is like way too scattered or I'm ungrounded while trying to connect. Yeah. Yeah. You know, when you're going through the whole like, oh my God, this is like an interdimensional telephone. That's kind of a freaky ride. It's hard to stay it's hard to stay perfectly grounded through that realization. Okay. All right. Something to be true does not, wait, hold on. Oh. Okay. So yeah, if you're new to rods, I am new too. I have been trying to get them to feel like the fact that I'm sharing on here is like huge pat on my back, because less than a couple months ago, this was a major fear of mine, but thank you for the rose. For the longest time, I would see other people use these and be like, every time I pick mine up, they would not. They'd just be like dead. And it took me a long time to finally get connection. That happened in October. And it happened because of group practice like this, where I got to like look down the row and see everyone's rods like do their thing at the exact same time. And it was really cool. And so that is what I'm hoping to recreate with this for myself and for everyone, because, you know, this helps me use them on a daily basis, and using them on a daily basis is great for my intention, for my resolution for this year, which is to open up my clairs connect within, learn what the heck that means to connect within so I can start receiving more clearly. That's my goal. And so if that is a similar goal of yours, you're in the right place, because stuff like this helps open it all up. Okay. And so they even said, basically, like one of the bolder claims that the Lyran said yesterday, are we still connected to Nigh, the Lyran? Yes. Okay. They said that, okay, is it, let's go bold. Are all beings that exist now in the universe somehow genetically linked to Lyran lineage? I wasn't expecting a yes for that because of the all. So I'd be interested to hear what you guys say, but I got a yes on that one. And so everyone is sort of linked to Lyrans. I'm getting a yes. Are this because they are the most ancient beings to incarnate in this universe? Is that an accurate statement? I'm getting yes. So that's interesting. So they were the first to have physical form, like the first hominid sentient beings with physical form in this universe. Yes. Well, if you want to ask a question that pertains to this conversation, Sophia, go ahead and put it in there. You know, if it's good, I'll ask it. I'm not going to do any personal questions, though, for today. Like, nothing about future or medical, nothing like that. This is a practice one. Okay. And so, where are we about? So do humans today, all humans, carry Lyran DNA? Yes. How about that? And so if, like, I know, so I would say all of us in some way feel a connection to the Lyrans, that when you go down the starseed route and you start learning about all the different ones out there, you're like, I've got a pull to them. I don't know what it is, because we all, I don't know. I think humanity in general, we're lion-hearted. Yeah, it's just what we are. And let's see. So yes. And then going back to the other part of that equation, which they said is that not only are we all linked to Lyran DNA and soul lineage, but we are also linked to reptilian DNA and soul lineage. Is that correct? Yes. That's pretty cool. I'd like to ask you what you called in to get this being to contact you. Oh, we called in a Lyran. You can watch the whole interview. Actually, I would start with the Apollo 2.0 interview, because we were contacting Apollo, the god Apollo, no, alien expression Apollo, and he brought in a Lyran named Ekov, who introduced himself and revealed that he wanted to introduce 3 more Lyrans to us, and so we met with them yesterday. So those interviews are posted in my recents. I highly recommend you checking them out. Yes, and that is something we also like to do too. So, Nigh, are we still connected to you? Yes. She brings up a good point, Brunette, that you should always, especially when connecting to a new being, ask, is connecting to Nigh for my highest and greatest good? Yes. And then if you're interested, keeping in mind that, you know, there are beings of light and dark who are still considered balanced and good for your highest and greatest good. Yes. And that there's a very large difference between evil and dark, correct? Yes. And so Nigh of the Lyran Council that introduced themselves to us yesterday, he is obviously the dark one of the group. Yes, the warrior, you know, yeah. And so then it's accurate to say that Nigh, would you call yourself a dark being? Yes. Yeah. But would you say that you work for the light? Yes. it's just, you know, he, along with beings like Hades and Ares, are beings that represent darkness, you know, but are part of healing that darkness. And so let's say, is that a correct statement? Yes. Okay. We might disagree, Brunette, on maybe the convolutedness of what oversoul, higher expressions, parallel expressions might mean. But if you're interested in where my background and understanding comes from, it's more aligned with the Dolores Cannon interpretation of how we are experiencing reality here. And so you may want to look into that, but it pretty much along the line of like, my consciousness is, I like to very much oversimplify. Let's go through Dale's understanding of how life exists here. Yes, and see what they say about it. Because I'm of the framework, I'm a video gamer. I like to think of video games and programming that way, and everything that I find keeps telling us that we are in a highly advanced sound and light hologram for the soul's growth. Yes. Pretty much. And that there are more than one of these soul growth programs that exist in the universe. Yes. And so we just happen to be on Earth program. Yes. And of course, many of us volunteered to be here right at this time. Yes. And so, is it a very oversimplified but decent way to think about it, in that our soul is like this crystal that fractals into parallel expressions? Yes. And is it also true that time is not real? Yes. And if that is a very confusing topic, I always like directing people to the movie Everything Everywhere All at Once. Is that an appropriate movie to help someone understand the abstract thought of time being an illusion and parallel expressions? I get a yes. And so, yeah, where was I going with that? Okay, and so yes. So is it fair to say then that there is a part of our soul crystal consciousness that is almost Bluetooth connected to our human body? Yes. And is that same crystal Bluetooth connected to all those other bodies at the same time? Yes. And then you can ask, are some of my other parallel expressions considered other world alien expressions? Yes. And so, we are some of those oversoul crystal fractals experiencing other human Earth lives at the same time too? Yes. Like, can you imagine the processing power of that computer that is Bluetooth projecting? I mean, it's a mind-bendy world out there, and so it's like ultimately we are all one. Yes, all fractals of the same creator source power. Yes. But yeah. So anyways, where are we going with that? So yeah, that is how I like to think of the world here. And what's very interesting is there are other soul fractals, like I said, higher selves, like Nigh, yes, who are aware of you. And what's really interesting, and just to toot our horn a little bit, is if this is something that you're interested in exploring, other versions of yourself that are aware of you, can people connect with and interact with in a conversation their higher selves through our Soul Speak sessions? I get a yes. Ask. Go ahead and ask what you get. And yeah, and so if that's something that interests you, check out the link in my bio. Those are where we have all the linkages, but go ahead and ask. Okay, girl. I mean, it's not me. I'm not the psychic, but like I said, I'm a hypnotist that discovered that when you put a psychic deep into trance, you can, and again, this is an oversimplification, but you can turn someone's mind into an interdimensional telephone. You get a yes? But yeah. So, again, where were we? Everyone, we have a lot of new people today, and so it's a very active chat. I appreciate you all being here. And if you're new, I highly recommend checking out the past content we've created with the interviews, because I partner with a psychic friend, Stephanie, who is really amazing. She's so disciplined in her craft. That is Stephanie able to channel interdimensional beings to be able to speak through her body? Yes. And again, if you have your tools out, you can ask. If you want to use muscle testing, you can ask yourself. Don't take my word for it. And it's just really neat. And I accidentally discovered that someone else could channel your higher self to begin with years ago. And that experience changed my life. That conversation with that aspect of myself that knew everything about me, knew exactly why I'm here. Like again, it sounds like I'm totally trying to scam people. I'm aware. But don't knock it till you try it. I have yet have had an experience where someone is like, I believe nothing of this. It was completely off base. Like, that's never happened. So, I don't know. I'm here to help. So, yes. And so anyways, so she's able to channel other beings, and we have been posting interviews. And so they're kind of long form, so they don't get pushed out a lot. So if you're new in my space, you may want to check out those interviews. They're really neat. And we've been channeling interviews with aliens, inner earth beings. That's another big theme that I'm into. So, yep, not into the flat earth stuff. I'm into inner earth, hollow earth. So, okay. Oh, and then I wanted to get into reptilians, because we've also channeled recently a reptilian being from inner earth. And it was a really interesting conversation, because I assumed when they said they were going to bring us a reptilian to interview, that'd be a reptilian that was like very, like never been done questionable things. And so I was surprised when they brought in one that admitted, like, oh yeah, no, like I had to turn to the light, basically. Like, it was, in my opinion, brave, bold, to invite, like, ask me about it. Like, so we interviewed that reptilian, and that was pretty cool. And so I want the next couple of questions, because the Lyrans yesterday said that, reptilians are part of our past, our present, and our future. Is that true? Yes. And that, as truth continues to come out, and we as humanity get over the hump of realizing aliens are real, then we're going to start realizing, like, oh, that means the reptilian aspect is also real. And that is going to be a tricky one. Yeah. Because, yeah, there's been some messed up history. Yes. Very messed up. But we also have to realize that they're not a monolith, that there are groups within the race that are working for humanity. Yes. How about the cats yesterday? Does that mean they are dreamwalkers? Oh, that's a good question. Okay, Nigh, are you still there? Yes. Is it accurate to say that the cats, domestic cats that we have here, are considered dreamwalkers? I get a yes. That's pretty cool. Thank you for that question. Okay. And another fun question, if you weren't there yesterday, if you can ask now, is we were told that, is it true that many of our domestic pet cats are Lyran starseeds? I get a yes. And whatchamacallit? Thank you, Angie. And whatchamacallit? Oh, I wanted to ask is, so I have 2 cats. Let me go ask, are both of my cats considered Lyran starseeds? I get a yes. Interesting. And one of my cats, was Charlie considered a Lyran starseed? I get a yes. So that's cool. And he said that they are, he said, wait, are all cats Lyran starseeds? Okay, I get a no. So that's neat. And then, are all cats considered spiritual guardians? Okay, I get a no. But then you can ask, are my 2 cats spiritual guardians? I get a yes. So that's interesting. And then I've heard like some cats, can some cats be alien starseeds? Yes. And I don't know. Can the cat be both an alien? Wait, no, alien is Lyran starseed. Can it be a different type of starseed other than Lyran? I'm getting a yes. And then I'm curious, can cats be like mixed starseed origin? Yes, okay. I assumed yes. Is there an Annie? Let's see. Okay. And so yes, is it true then that we share DNA with reptilians? Do humans share DNA with reptilians? Yes. Hey Bruce, thanks for coming. Yes, Angie, thank you for telling them. Yeah, no personal questions. This is more of a practice for everyone, not one of those where I fast answer y'all's questions like that. Unless it has to do with the topic, then please add to the discussion. All right, so we just finished that. And then I was also interested in, let's debunk that dolphin story together before we leave today. I'm curious to see what, and I don't know if that should be a Nigh answered. Let's ask him. Okay, Nigh, are we still connected? Yes, okay. Do you want to be the one we ask about the dolphin article? Okay, I got a yes. All right. Okay, so then let's just ask, is the story about the Florida man claiming dolphins took him underwater to build structures, is this a factual story that occurred? I get a yes. I was really expecting a no. And so, let's ask again. And you can ask in the opposite way too. So you can say like, is the dolphin Florida man story a hoax? I get a no. What? Like, I don't know. But then we can dissect it because are there aspects of the story that are true? Yes. Is the entire story as it is written in the article true the way it is written? I don't know what this answer is. Let's try that again. Is the story the way that it's written true? Okay, so no. So that's when it's like, then you have to kind of go in because, so basically there are truths in the story. Yes. There's multiple articles. Well then yes, then we have to go in and dissect it and start with like, okay, let's go with the funniest one. Okay, well, let's just go with, was that Florida man truly taken underwater by dolphins? It still feels unbelievable. What do you guys get? Are y'all getting yes? It's such a silly fun story. I know, it does. Because we all... I have not heard him talk, so I don't know. I've only seen his picture with the sunburn alone, and I was like, oh, maybe he's just like more like like a person who's always outside, but then when I read he's like actually has a background in engineering, whatever, I was like, oh, what? That's bizarre. Okay, yes. So it was yes for you too? Okay. I would like, if anyone got a no on that, let us know. Okay, so was this Florida man truly underwater for 3 consecutive days? I'm getting a yes. What? You got a no, Blue Sky? Are you playing along with us? They showed us a tech that makes it possible to move the abyss in 1989. That's true. You got a yes too? This is so funny. You get a yes on the whole story. I don't, yeah. Is there truly a dolphin named Gerald? And did this Gerald dolphin actually work as the project manager in his case? Okay. This just seems so absurd. It's so funny. Yes, I do these 3 times a week. So Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Sundays at 1 to practice and push myself to practice because I'm new at this. I'm still very new, and if you watch the replay I posted yesterday, you can kind of see the difference between my rods and how like much slower they move versus Stephanie's, who has been doing this religiously for over a year, and they worked immediately when she bought them. So very opposite of my experience. And so you can definitely see the difference in like my slow answers versus her fast ones. Yeah. What are they building and for what reason? Let's ask about that. Let's see what we can get. Okay. Okay, Nigh, are you still connected? Yeah. Will you answer questions about like the purpose of the structure that they were supposedly building underwater? Yes. Okay. Will the structure help humanity in any way? I'm getting a yes. Is the structure associated with communication? Getting a no. Is the structure meant to help, to directly help Gaia's energy in any way? Is it more like for Gaia type of structure? Yes. I'm getting an itch on the back of my head too. Do dolphins work with octopi? I'm getting a yes. Where is Merlin in this reading? You know, I totally forgot to change the banner. Normally I do connect with Merlin, but today I decided, since I met a Lyran parallel expression of myself yesterday, which I know sounds insane, but this is my life. His name is Nigh, spelled like night. Excuse me. N-I-G-H. And he said he's a Lyran warrior, ancient warrior from Lyra. One of the 7, he said 7, I believe, were there 7 refugee families that survived from Lyra? I'm getting a yes. And so, Nigh, are you one of the 7? Yes, like he's descended from one of the 7. So, I don't know. Now they're everywhere. They pretty much said that after their planet was destroyed, Lyran's refugees went everywhere. Yep, and are directly responsible for seeding all planets with sentient life, basically. Like, yeah. And like hybridized with other civilizations. So, I don't know. So, I got very excited, just the aspect of us connecting with Lyrans in general, because they're just so old once you start learning about the history of us. They're so old. And so, I don't know, just wanted to connect with the Lyran aspect and get to know a little bit about his energy, because Merlin is also very tied to me too, and so that's why I connect with him on a regular basis as well. Plus, he's so helpful and funny. Okay, let's see. I wanted to ask. Oh, I already did those questions. Dolphins. Okay. I wanted to ask, one of the things I've been told about dolphins. Okay, so is it true that dolphins come, or I don't know. Let's just say, are dolphins considered 12th dimensional beings? I get a yes. That's something that I've heard in another channeling before. And is it true that there are 12 dimensions within this universe? Yes. And so dolphins would then be considered like highest dimension in this universe. Isn't that crazy? But not that crazy, because we're kind of learning that water is like the closest to God that maybe humans might ever understand in like a tangible aspect of God. So it's like, I don't know. There's still so much mystery I don't understand, but some of the things I've been told are true that kind of hurt my brain, but somehow make sense with the idea that like water is kind of a way bigger deal than we give it credit for around here in this universe. Is that I've heard that even though flat Earth, is it true? Okay, let's say, is flat Earth a true theory? I'm getting a no. But is it true that the firmament is real? I get a yes. And I was once told, when we were channeling Zecharia Stitchin, who's the author of like a bunch of sci-fi books, he said that when I asked him what was above the firmament, he kept saying as above, so below, and implying that like water is above and below. So interesting. So trust your own truth. Yes, always trust your own truth. So Earth is a globe. Yes, Earth is a globe, round globe. And there are 100% aliens in the water. Yes. But it's also true that like some of the aliens are considered regular Earth animals that we've, that we can acknowledge look weird, like, dolphins. But is it true that dolphins, octopi, and many other like sea creatures are actually aliens from other planets that came to Earth? Yes. Jellyfish, that's an interesting one. Are jellyfish considered extraterrestrials? I get a yes. But there's also like beings that we have yet to see on a mass scale that are considered way more like alien looking that exist in the water too. Yes. Leave jellyfish out of this. They did nothing. Because the fact of the matter is, yeah, surprise, those guys are not from here, but also, bigger surprise, are humans considered aliens? Yeah. Like, we are not naturally evolved beings. Is it true that okay, ask. Are we naturally evolved beings from original earthling beings? Did we evolve naturally on our own? No. Are we basically a hybrid of many galactic origin DNA structures, basically? I'm getting a yes. And so as we, as a collective, learn that aliens are real, and then we realize, oh snap, Adam and Eve was more like a alien myth, like that it was a like alien hybridization project. Yeah. I'm sorry to burst some bubbles. Like, there was truth to the story, but false. Like, I mean, it's based on truth. But our ancient ancestors, what would they have known about a laboratory or any of that? It was It was an enclosed garden laboratory. Yeah, like almost like imagine if I keep thinking of the movie Planet of the Apes, except humans are the apes in the story. Yes. Like in that story, in the fictional story, you know, humans decide, let's play with the sentient, like increase the consciousness of these apes, right? What could go wrong? Then they do, and then they gain consciousness, and they are like, why? We don't want to be a lower class. We deserve sovereignty. And then hence, here we are, humanity, boom. And so now we're learning to connect with and partner with our alien creator beings. And that's just the way we're headed, is like, yep, the truth is out. Boom. I always forget, you know, there are new people here. And so if this earth, firmament, sphere, I know, that's why I don't understand. How is it true that both the firmament is true and that there's a sphere? I have no idea. But I'm also a human, and I'm talking to beings who are literally like, what? Like, it's hard? Like, you guys live in a light and sound holographic simulation for your spirit to have evolutionary growth. Like, there's a lot of things that our human brain is, I just figured, you know what? I, as a human being, am not meant to hold all the secrets of the universe in my head. Yes. I overthink way too much, but it's also one of my gifts. And if it hadn't been for my weird overthinking, I never would have accidentally discovered that the human brain can be turned into an interdimensional telephone. So. I think differently than others. That is true. But yes. And then, if you've never gone down the water, how do you do that? Well, I do hypnosis. More specifically, it's called past life regression, but it's more accurately termed parallel life regression hypnosis. And so I discovered very early that, you know, there are varying levels of degree of like trance levels that people can attain. And depending on how deep into this trance you can go, I started noticing that like the consciousness of the client would sort of take a back seat and other consciousnesses emerged to speak instead. And it started with like the parallel expressions talking to me. And I felt like, whoa, I'm somehow turned into the therapist of this 40-year-old Greek fisherman from I don't know what year, a long time ago. You know, in this session, even though my client is a 30-year-old woman, a queer woman too. So it's just like so I started noticing like, oh, interesting things are happening the more people go deeper. And then if you go very early into my content making, I only started making content because my hypnosis led to basically being contacted by aliens through a session, which at the time I thought was random, but as I'm learning, were any of my alien contacts considered random? Oh, it's saying yes? Okay. Well, the ones that happened in hypnosis, would you call those beings that they came through random? No. Like it was all meant to happen. I was supposed to be contacted and starts taking seriously the fact that something funny happens when you go deep into trance. And especially when it's with someone who is already considered like a very advanced psychic medium. And so they're already, I consider it like, because I'm not, I wish I was, and I'm working on it. But I've worked with many people that are, and they very easily can go into trance and connect and see and describe what they're seeing as if they're very much in a solid dreamscape. It's very cool. Yes, and so if you're familiar with QHHT, it's very neat, especially when you go very deep. I am one of those practitioners who myself, I struggle to go very deep. And so, again, I think that was part of the original plan for me, because if I was able to go deep and see it myself, I never would have gone down the pathway to want to create a way for people like me and other overthinkers who struggle to turn it off to be able to communicate directly with their higher self or subconscious, whatever you want to call it. And so when I successfully made that a process that could be recreated across different people can access, like, I've tested it. And so now we offer it. And so, yeah. Let's see. And I wanted us all to go through, before we leave, I wanted us to go through like a bunch of questions, because this is a practice that isn't just meant for like views on TikTok. This is something that can be incorporated into your daily spiritual practice of talking to your higher self, talking to your guides, getting to know their energy signature. And so I wanted us to go through and ask some questions to kind of determine, I don't know, where your specific star seed, if we were to do like a 23andMe of your star seed map, what would that look like? And so let's ask. And then I got to go, and it looks like I just heard thunder. I love rainy days. Okay, so you can start with this. Okay, since this is a better question for your higher self, now you should call in your higher self, so your highest self. And so Nigh, thank you for connecting with us. I am now wanting to connect with my highest self. When you're connected, could you please cross the rods? I'm getting a yes. Okay. I'm currently connected to my highest self. Yes. Okay. Okay. Going to starseed lineages. So, is it possible for humans to carry more than one starseed lineage? Yes. Is it possible for someone to have a dominant starseed lineage, like one they would consider their dominant? I'm getting a yes. I was sort of expecting a no on that one. Okay. And is there a difference between a soul starseed lineage and like a biological lineage? Would you say there's a difference? For example, someone may be an Arcturian soul starseed, but not have Arcturian DNA. Is that possible? Yes. Okay. It's so hot in the shed, but if I have the AC, it's too loud. The problems. Okay. If you have to ask if your boyfriend is loyal, he probably shouldn't be your boyfriend. Or looking to secure relationship attachment. Okay, so then you can ask, let's see, am I considered an Arcturian starseed? I don't know, that was a very slow answer, so I don't like that. And I feel like maybe it's more like, okay, so then you should dissect, like, is there an aspect of myself that is having a parallel expression as an Arcturian? I get a yes. Okay. Do I have Arcturian guides on my team? I get a yes. Very cool. Okay, then you can ask, like, would you consider me a Lyran starseed? Yes. Okay. And then you can ask, do I have a Lyran parallel expression? Yes, that is Nigh. Is it true that Nigh is my parallel expression of Lyran? Yes. Okay. And then, do I have any other Lyrans on my spirit team? I get a yes. Okay. So we're all starseeds. We just got to figure out our own. Yeah, but it doesn't really matter, because in the end, the truth is, have we pretty much lived everything? I get a yes. You know, I think when you start getting to the starseed department, it's very romantic to be like, ooh, I resonate really strongly with one. But the truth is, like, we're all one. And they all work together, and you've done it all. And if you haven't done it, since time isn't real, you're probably going to do it. And so therefore you're already doing it. Like, it's like, I think we as humans, and me included, goodness, I do it all the time, especially when I'm meeting these advanced beings, and I'm like, so how would you describe yourself? Like, what does your body look like? And they're like, we have no body. And I'm like, okay, but if you were to have a body, because like I as a human enjoy labels. Yeah, I want you to fit in a box so that I can put it in an organizational chart and have it color coded. Give it to me. But that is impossible. Yes. Where are the mods allowing hematite in here? Okay. But yeah. So, yeah, you can go through the lineages and ask. One of the more rare ones is the blue avians. Are blue avians a real extraterrestrial species that exist? Yes. And are they considered ancient along with the Lyrans? I get a yes. I've always heard that blue avians are highly linked, closely linked to the angelic realm. Is that true? Yes. Yeah. Like, again, very oversimplified, but this is how I understand it, is like, that blue avian beings are like the first beings that existed once angelic beings were like, I kind of want to experience life in a body. Is that true? Yes. Isn't that interesting? And so, yeah. Very cool. Can you ask if Christ is on the planet and we should trust him? I have asked this before. Let's see if I get the same answer. Okay. Is there currently an incarnation of Yeshua alive on the planet? No. Is Yeshua still actively helping those of us on the planet? Yes. Yeah. A common misinterpretation of the Bible is that we were told that literally Yeshua the man would return. However, the truth is more aligned with Yeshua. Okay, this is actually, okay. Is it true that Yeshua could be defined as an alien starseed who came to anchor unity consciousness, Christ consciousness on the planet? I get a yes. And is it true that the, you know, again, if you think of this as a program in programming terms, even though it's a very advanced spiritual program, it's literally as if new coding was brought in by beings like Merlin and Yeshua. Yes. And they brought in coding that exists on other planets that have to do with Christ consciousness or unity consciousness of oneness, like we are all one. And so, yeah, it's not that he was literally going to come back. It's that we as a collective are going to wake up to the reality that the frequencies that they brought in, that Christ brought in, can be tapped into by anyone. And so if you think of, you know, I like to think of Jesus, instead of how the, you know, the Christians have painted him as like this savior that just went around like preaching, like he really was more akin to like what we would understand almost like a wizard Jedi. Is that, would it be sort of accurate to paint Yeshua and all of the training that he did in his lifetime gave him a lot of the skills that we would say are only possible for someone as like a Jedi or a wizard? Is that true? Yes. And that's because he studied in many secret mystery schools like the Merlin mystery schools. Yes. And I mean, is it exactly, did he actually train in what we would call the Merlin Mystery Schools? Is that something that he did? And yes, like he learned the exact same content that someone would have learned in the Merlin Mystery Schools. Yes. And I mean, so he learned how to master energy in this energetic manifestation realm. And as we've been told by multiple different beings that we've interviewed, is it true that Earth, as a default, is programmed to be a manifestation planet? Yes. And so every one of us alive and conscious is manifesting our reality, whether we are aware of it or not. Yes. Oh, should we trust God or Christ? I mean, they're the same thing. Christ consciousness, unity consciousness, whatever you want to call it, is directly from source. Is that true? Yes. And so, literally, Yeshua, along with, we're learning Merlin as well, were like messengers from God or other dimensions that came here to anchor in this unity consciousness frequency. Yes. The church bells, yeah. So that's the truth that we're all moving towards. And so, I hope that one day, we can all agree on the Jesus Christ thing. I know we're getting there. Yeah. Trust Christ for our highest good. Okay. Can we trust, I'm assuming you mean Yeshua or the Christ energy? I'll ask it both ways because I'm not sure which one you mean. Is it in our highest and greatest good to trust with and explore the topic of unity or Christ consciousness? Yes. Is it in our highest and greatest good to explore with or connect with the consciousness known as Yeshua or Jesus Christ? Yes. And just for those out there who may be new, does the consciousness known as Yeshua or Jesus Christ have a preference for which name to be called? Yes. Is the preference to be called Jesus? No. Is the preference to be called Yeshua? Feels like it's going to yes, but it's getting stalled. Yes. I'm not asking if it's good for us to connect with it or get truth about it. Okay, I'm asking if Jesus, the man who is here, also known as God, is someone we should ever trust. Okay, well, the fallacy within that statement, and I've already said, yes, Yeshua, the consciousness of Yeshua, also known in many texts incorrectly as Jesus Christ, is someone that is in our highest and greatest good to connect with, correct? Yes. Is it accurate to say that Jesus is God? No. Is it even accurate to say that the Bible was accurate to call him the Son of God? No. And so we kind of need to unprogram some of the things we've been told about Jesus or Yeshua. I mean, we don't even have his name correctly. The way I was described, because like obviously once I started experimenting with interdimensional channeling, Jesus was one of the first beings I was like, well, I got to know the truth about him, okay? And so we channeled him. And I thought it was so interesting because I, of course, was told almost immediately, I actually don't prefer to be called Jesus. And here's why. I know you don't have to believe it, but this is my experience. And he was like, no, I don't want to be called Jesus, because he described it as like, if you're familiar with the term egregore or egregore, he said the idea of a crucified, forever tortured, what do they call him? Martyr. Okay, this version of him that exists as this man being tortured on the cross is sort of kind of stuck. He described it as like create, it was like made manifest. And so now that he described it as like, now there is